Hey, what's going on, everyone? Instigator92 here. Today I want to talk about my thoughts and feelings on the new information that came out today from the Xbox and Gears of War showcase for Halo and Gears. Something that I should be rather excited for, but to be honest, I'm really not. It's almost like a depressed state, kind of, with seeing what I saw. And I don't like to come off as overly negative. I know that's something that I've kind of been doing a lot lately on the channel, especially with Halo. A lot of it comes from a place of passion for the series that I just absolutely love with both Halo and Gears, especially Halo. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and start with Halo first, and then I'll get into my thoughts and opinions on what we saw with Gears E-Day. Nothing really new for Campaign Evolved, news-wise. Pretty much what we expected to be there from all the leaks and everything was there. I'm a little bit disappointed they weren't able to get the original voice actor back for Sergeant Johnson. And another note on top of that, I feel like some of the extra lines that they had for him throughout the trailer were a bit on the cringe side. I feel like it was a little bit over the top. It didn't quite feel like Johnson. It just felt more like a Marvel comedic relief. And it just came off very differently than how I kind of know Johnson's character is. I know he's had some good one-liners and maybe been a little bit silly a couple of times, but like, these ones kind of felt a little bit over the top. A little bit too much. On top of that, I'm not the biggest fan of Johnson's current design for Campaign Evolved. I wish they would have stuck to something a little bit more like the Halo 2 Anniversary, which I thought was like really good and perfect for him. But I digress from that. We got to see a little bit more variety of the weapons, the new Covenant faction. Nothing crazy, nothing new there. I mean, I'm kind of curious what the mission's going to be. I thought it might be from one of the books, but it seems like it may not be. It might be a completely different mission. The design looks neat for the Covenant, the Brutes. I really don't like them having the Brute go berserk and just completely take out his own guys. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, you did something, it pissed him off, and he took out one grunt or something like that. But to have him kind of wipe out his own team and just start running around going berserk, deleting everyone in front of him that's a little too much, too crazy if you ask me. I know the Brutes went berserk with Halo 2. They have that ability to just kind of rampage when their brethren start falling and they take enough damage. That is very different, though. Like, I don't know how else to really put it. It seems a little weird and a little out of place. They had the elites in the tanks, so I guess they're gonna maybe have us taking a look at something on the mission with some kind of experiment with this new faction. I mean, seeing the new Spiker is kind of interesting, how they're handling that. We saw the SMG, battle rifle, fuel rod gun. Thank the Lord, it looks like what was a classic Wraith was in there, because I'm not a big fan of the design of the Wraith from Halo 5 and Infinite, where the front hatch completely just opens. I think that's a very weak design for the Wraith, especially, multiplayer, where once that whole hatch gets blown open, you could see the whole pilot, and it's so easy to snipe someone out. And that goes for campaign as well, like seeing the operator. Other than that, I guess the last thing to talk about Halo related is the skins. They feel very out of place, very whack to me. Definitely not a big fan of those. We are getting so far away from what Halo is. Especially like its art style with adding in all this extra goofy stuff. It was never there before. It was always simple, you know, especially multiplayer red versus blue, even though Halo CE had additional colors aside from that. To start out, we never had the weird goofy skins. Like the Robot Chief or Gundam Chief, I've seen some people call it. The Roman armor, and then the Needler armor. Like that crystal armor just feels weird. Like, why would you want a whole set of armor made out of blamite? Which is the ammunition for like the Needler, the needle rifle, and what have you. It's just very strange, very out there. Doesn't really belong. And call it gatekeeping or not wanting to move forward. That's not what it is. Halo was always very military themed. Very simple. That worked fantastic. It was never anything over the top, crazy. And this is just going to be them, as I've said before in the past. They're using this game to basically reboot Halo and change it into the vision of what they want it to be rather than with what it was, which was what worked best before they started with Halo 4 and on. Because Halo Reach was a, you know, decent try at trying something different, but just didn't really work with the formula that Halo has. And with Infinite on now, they're just going to normalize goofy cosmetics, especially with the campaign involved. And I don't care if you say it's just campaign only. Them doing this and people just accepting it and then going and buying the DLC, you're normalizing this kind of stuff. Because it might not be a store, but it's an add-on, it's a DLC, which is still, in a way, a microtransaction. And this probably won't be the first one or the only one. I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe like a couple more come out between now and the next game so that they can try to eke out a little bit more money, because I have a feeling Campaign Evolved is not going to do fantastic numbers, and they're going to want to try to maybe make up for that. And now we get to where I have some of my even bigger gripes, is Gears of War E-Day. I guess to start off, we'll just talk about the campaign a little bit. The mention that it's going to be a semi-linear open world kind of thing could be good, it could be bad. I think it's just going to be mediocre. I don't think it's going to be crazy. Definitely not groundbreaking. The story might be alright. I mean, it seems decent enough. Just for the themes that they're going with. You know, seeing Dom and Marcus before the events of Gears 1 back together. You know, seeing Ty. So I think the campaign will probably be okay for Gears E-Day. It'll probably be like a Gears Judgment thing at worst. So, you know, nothing super terrible, but maybe not anything like super great, just somewhere in the middle. And one of my gripes is that it really feels like they've taken the Gears soldiers and even the Locust, and they took them from being these big, beefy, meaty guys, and kind of shrunk them down a bit. And that really kind of takes away from Gears of War's aesthetic. I don't care if you call it Dude Bro, this, that, the other thing, or in the little Vidoc that they did, they talk about trying to go for realism. At the end of the day, this is a game. Gears of War always kind of had like that cartoony art style. And with Gears 4 and 5 is where they started like making the COG soldiers and the Swarm, they kind of shrunk them down a little bit. They're not as big, meaty, and beefy. And I think you need to kind of keep that cartoony, you know, bodybuilder style that they kind of had going on. That's just Gears, if you ask me. It's always been there. It was always that way. So if they happen to show Coltrane or anything and like they really shrink him down, I would be upset. Cole's the fucking man, and there's a reason he's the Coltrane, right? The biggest character in the game. size-wise. Maybe not like people's favorite, but the biggest offenders was the gameplay for me. And I've complained about this with Halo, with them having sprint and sliding in there. You know, I don't think it works for Halo at all, and their base gameplay. And in Gears, they always had roadie run, but now they've taken that and made it a sprint. You've been able to slide into cover, and they still have that slide into cover mechanic, but now they have the traditional slide that every shooter these days has. And the ability to mantle up and over tall walls and objects and run in, even now, jump. You can jump in a Gears game. And they've seen Marcus run and jump on top of stuff. I don't care how athletic a Gear might be outside of their armor. I don't think we're going to see dudes as big and jacked as them, you know, walking living tanks, being super athletic like that outside of maybe Coltrane. But, like, you know, to suspend, you know, I mean, it is a fictional world, but, like, to suspend that belief is easy. But in Gears, it's always been very simple cover-based shooter mechanics. I don't mind the cover mechanics changing for, you know, maybe if there's something that's not such a big piece of cover where they lay down now to kind of fit behind it. I think that would have been something that would have been good enough as like a new addition to change up some of the formula a little bit and maybe some of the map design and campaign. But adding in now like this actual slide where you could slide past cover, who knows how abusive this will be, especially when it comes to multiplayer. And honestly, they could have just taken that and changed the slide mechanic for going into cover into maybe what looks more of like a traditional slide rather than just kind of floating really fast into place. With both Halo and Gears, I am starting to lose my faith that we'll ever get a really good, faithful game for what the originals brought to the table, instead of these trend-chasing mechanics being tossed in. They talk about how they're doing new things with Gears E-Day. You know, how Gears, the original Gears games kind of like did like this really new, cool stuff that was never seen before, and they're doing that now. All they've done is add mechanics that every shooter has, and I just want every shooter to be its own unique experience. And lately, every shooter is just starting to look and feel the same. And it's hard to get excited for even franchises that I love because they're trend chasing. And you'll see people online say, oh, you're just stuck in the past, this, that, the other thing, or you just, you know, get good, you're getting old, you can't keep up. I kept up with Halo. You know, I was 1600 Onyx in Infinite. I've played Gears all my life pretty well. Been Onyx in 4 and 5. And it's just, I want the unique experience. I don't mind playing a game that has sprint or slide if I want to play that. But these other games, like Halo, Gears, and what have you, they're changing and it's not for the better. By them trying to look and feel more like games like Call of Duty, which is the player base they're trying to tap into, they're losing their identity, and the closer you get to being a clone of Call of Duty, the less people you have to attract to your game. Because at the end of the day, Call of Duty does Call of Duty best. So, if people are going to want to play an experience where you could sprint, slide, shoot, whatever, why would they not choose the better option? The option that was built around that. And I guess you would say perfected it. So, to kind of round out the video here a little bit, I'm probably going to end up picking up Campaign Evolved and Gears E-Day. They're two franchises I love, but I don't know how much longer I can keep supporting them. I'm going to get to a point eventually, you know, where I might just have to give up on them. You know, give up hope. As the saying goes, you know, I'm tired. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I really do appreciate you guys sticking around if you made it this far. I'm going to do my best in the future to have more positive, upbeat videos and not be on such this negative track that I've been on lately. I'm just trying to be myself and not who I think I need to be. Like, I want this channel to be me, my thoughts, put everything out there, and, you know, be genuine. I don't want to pretend to be someone or something I'm not. So, again, appreciate you guys sticking around. If you like this video, or maybe just someone like me being open, feel free to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. It really helps me out in the channel. You also get notified if you hit the notification bell anytime I go live throughout the week with my streams and upload videos like this. Have a great rest of your day and week, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.